Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dylan James. I'm a mindset coach that loves to specifically focus on relationships. And in today's video, I'm really tired. So we are going to be talking about persisting because this is really, really important. And I'm going to start off with an example of when you have persisted in ways that didn't work to your advantage so that you can understand what you're doing, so that you can see you've already done this process. And like I said in my previous video, what we want to do is look at the things that we've done where we were not successful, reverse engineer what occurred, and then apply the opposite so that we can get the desired results that we want. So in the last video that was on my channel, I was talking about your feeling state, the beliefs that you hold, and how when you really cultivate a certain knowing and you reinforce that with what you're feeling and thinking and the images that are in your mind, you start to see that really become your experience. Now, when we want to turn situations around or we want to create more of what we want in our life, we do need to persist in a very stable way. So even in previous content, I've said when you're not stable, and I'm going to talk about what stable means more in a second, but when you're not stable, you don't really want to try to manifest the thing that it is that you're trying to get. Because what happens when you're not stable is, and stability meaning you're emotionally stable, you're not obsessively thinking, you're not having tons of negative and intrusive thoughts, you're just feeling very good, satisfied in your life. You're able to think about something very clearly. You're able to think about it in a very pure way. So when you are not stable, what happens when you try to really imagine something or live in the end of what it is that you want to experience, which again, living in the end just means already seeing yourself as the winner, as chosen, as in that relationship, in that career. What happens when you're not stable is you end up battling contradicting thoughts in your mind. And this is where working on your beliefs and doing breath work and doing meditations is really useful, because when you've already cultivated a state of resistance or worry, doubt, fear, obsession, there's an easier way to get out of it versus trying to go through it. And typically that way is just dropping the topic and focusing more generally on building that self-esteem, that confidence, that feeling of everything is going to be okay. I'm going to be able to create what it is that I want. So when you are stable though, again, stability characterized by feeling pretty good, feeling confident, feeling clear-minded, not feeling like you're having tons of negative, intrusive thoughts. You do want to persist with what it is that you desire to experience. And so when I find myself in very stable states of being in my creative journey as well, what I typically will do is I'll pick 3 affirmations about what it is that I want to experience. And when I'm falling asleep at nighttime or any time that I have some free time throughout the day, I'll sit down and do a meditation on those 3 statements. I'll really saturate my consciousness in those statements. I'll feel into them. And then I kind of drop it, move on with my day, or I fall asleep at nighttime. But I'm always aware of what it is that I'm creating. But because I'm stable, here's the thing here, like when you're actually stable, what happens is you're not checking for it. There's no urgency. It just becomes like a fun remembrance, a reminding, a knowing, a reinforcing. And how I think this works on the psychological level too is like you have to continually reinforce what it is that you want to experience so that you can materialize the behaviors and the awareness of your reality that's in alignment with what you want to create as well. So when you're actually stable, it just feels like a fun fantasizing activity, but you will see that your reality starts to reflect it back to you very quickly. Now let's talk about the persisting aspect. Okay, so let's say you've already stabilized in your state of being, you're feeling confident again, you're feeling good within yourself. There's no need, there's no lack, there's no wanting dire need for this change or this thing that you want to occur. There's more of a confident knowing. Well, there may still be circumstances that are presented to you in your reality that you need to persist through. So before I get into the example, the first thing I want to say too is you have to realize that what I'm talking about here on my channel is conscious creating. Okay. So in order to consciously create something, I need to claim it now. So I need to see myself already as a winner. I need to see myself already as that version of myself that's in the relationship that I desire. I need to see myself as the top salesperson in my company. I need to see myself as a successful CEO. The whole purpose to this is the fastest way to manifest or create these changes in your life is go straight to the end. Like I said in the previous video, you're going to know it into being. Now, if your beliefs are not in alignment and you're not really stable in your saving, it's going to be very, very difficult to do this. So that's where you do want to be honest with where you are and take that time to align to that version of yourself. But once you're there, okay, I don't want you to have the false ideology that it's going to just be a cakewalk, right? Now, you may be so stable and so secure within yourself that you're able to really manifest something in a very distinct way that is very easy for you to obtain. But more often than not, there's going to be some persisting that needs to occur. And even once you manifest that change, you're going to notice that it becomes more like a growth process. So this is like a lifestyle change. So you manifest something and then you build it. You manifest something and then you build it. Your confidence in your ability to create the things that you desire in your life starts to grow. And with that growing of your confidence, you start to build on your desires and take them to the next level continually. It becomes a very fun creative process. So the point that I want to make here, though, so that you don't feel delusional when you're doing this, is let's look at when you've done this before and it didn't work in your favor. And I'm going to talk about uh, the experience of sabotaging a relationship, because I feel like this is something that a lot of people that are trying to manifest a person back have done. And if you're not trying to manifest a person back, if you just want to build on a relationship, then this is still going to apply to you as well. So typically what occurs, okay, when we sabotage a relationship is we start to have limiting beliefs that are triggered, right? So we're in a fearful, doubting state of being, insecurity, whatever it may be. We're starting to build stories in our mind and we're starting to project that out into our reality or start to notice it and it triggers us even more. But usually there is a transition period. Okay. So when I say in my content, when you start to apply this work, you should start to see movement. Movement meaning you start to see that person coming towards you. You start to see that job kind of popping up everywhere. Movement does not mean your full-blown manifestation. You should start to see things moving and shifting and reflecting the changes that you're making internally. And as you persist, you're going to see that that movement becomes the full-fledged manifested result of what it is that you want to experience. But even in, like I was just saying, when you start to do this in a negative way, so let's say you're in that relationship and you notice that you're having some sabotaging behaviors, there's typically an adjustment period. So what happens is your partner will typically try to reassure you, I like you so much. Like they're just in a state of really trying to reassure you until it becomes too much and then the relationship dissolves. But something very peculiar happens in that time period, in that transition period. Okay. So you could have your external reality, your person showing up. I really, really like you. I want you to know that I care about you, or nothing bad is going on, or like they're trying to reassure you and you're ignoring the good things that are going on in your reality and you're persisting in your doubts and fears and the internal dialogue that you have and the images that are going on in your mind. There's nothing that your external reality can do to soothe you out of that feeling state until it manifests. So this is the same exact experience as when you're trying to turn something around and you're seeing the opposite show up. So I typically will see people say, my person just said this and it triggers them and they're like, what do I do? Well, you do what you did before. You ignore it and you persist in your feeling state and in that knowing. Now, the thing that I was saying in my last video is you want to do it in the same fashion, right? So you were dominantly existing in a feeling state until it manifested, regardless of what your reality was showing up as. So in order to turn things around, you have to persist in that knowing. This is where having those 3 affirmations is really, really important. And also, this is where the amount of work you've done on your belief system is important as well. Because if I can really genuinely shift into a confident, knowing, stable, secure feeling state, then no matter how my reality shows up, I'm going to persist. I'm going to become possessed almost with that feeling state, that awareness that no matter how my reality is showing up, I'm going to keep knowing it, knowing it, knowing it, knowing it, not reacting, not responding to what's in front of me until I get what I want. That's what you did before. No matter how your reality was showing up, you weren't reacting to that. You kept persisting in your knowing, right? And that created a result. So the reason why I'm using this example is because you want to see that this is the process of creation, is knowing it into being. You've done this process before. And so the only reason why, when you have undesirable circumstances in your reality that you're trying to persist through, the only reason why it feels delusional or why it feels difficult is because you're in a fearing state of being. You are fearing that you're not going to get what you want. You're hoping that this is going to work, and you're allowing your fears to really knock your confidence out of alignment. But you had no problem being confident in the doubts and fears when everything was good. So you need to realize that you just need to see, oh, I just have to do the same thing. It doesn't really matter what's going on out here. As long as I feel stable and secure within myself, and I just keep knowing and knowing and knowing and persist in this knowing, again, in a very stable, mature way, I'm going to manifest that result. Okay. So I want to use this example because I think it's going to really help you take some perspective on yourself and see, oh, I have done this before. Okay. Let me not react to these things. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about abusive situations. If you're in abusive situations, definitely remove yourself. But this is more for, like, let's say you're attracting somebody in that you have a history with, and they're showing up, but they're a little bit hesitant. Or you're in a relationship with somebody and they're saying that they're not ready for commitment yet, although everything is there that is like a committed relationship, which I've talked about in previous videos. That's where you keep persisting in the knowing. You don't stop for a second and argue with it. You just, no, okay, I know which direction this is going in. I know all this stuff is very temporary right now. I'm going to lead this with confidence. Just like how I've led things with confidence in an undesirable way before, I'm going to do it in a way that feels good and actually gets me a result that I desire. It's just a switch in how you're operating. Okay. So it's not delusional. You do need to claim it. You need to be it before it shows up. That is the whole purpose of conscious manifesting. And when you actually get your beliefs in alignment and you're confident and you're stable and you're secure within yourself, it's not going to feel delusional. It's going to feel more kind of like I was saying in my previous video, kind of like a game, because you already know how it's going to unfold. So it doesn't really matter what's going on in front of you. You just keep reinforcing your feeling state and live in that knowing and just pleasantly expect. So I hope this video gave you some clarity, gave you some direction. Do not let your external reality bully you into thinking that you cannot get what it is that you want. And you also want to realize that your circumstances really don't matter, you guys. So the way that you're observing your circumstances is all just a reflection of what your beliefs are. So it really comes down to how you're valuing things in your mind. Things can absolutely change overnight. Things are constantly changing. So what you want to be wary of is looking at your external reality and placing a definitive definition on it. Because this happened, it means this. No, actually, it doesn't mean that. You're assigning that meaning. So you want to make sure that the meaning you're assigning is in alignment with your end state. Okay. Nope, it actually doesn't mean anything bad. I'm not even worried about it. I know totally where this is going. I just got it like that. I always get what I want. I'm going to go do something else today that feels enjoyable. I'm going to keep living in this knowing, reaffirming in these 3 affirmations, and pleasantly expecting. Okay. Alrighty. I love you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all later. Bye.